Hey guys, what's going on? Brian here, Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Guys, wanted to do a quick review on the ECHO 2420 hedge trimmer. Let's check it out. Alright guys, I've been meaning to do this video for quite some time. We've actually had access to this guy for about 2 months now. As most of you guys know, that in 2017 here we are ECHO UAG members, and I really appreciate that opportunity. ECHO flew us and a bunch of other folks out to Chicago to learn everything about ECHO and to promote the brand and just talk about some different tools and products that they have. One of the perks was that we were actually able to be sent home with the ECHO 2420 hedge trimmer. That was one of the perks that I was able to receive. Absolutely stoked and jacked about that. Now, I will tell you guys straight up, I was in the market any which way for a new hedge trimmer. The 2420 was one of the products I was looking at. In fact, the HC 152 was the product I was originally looking at. Most of you guys know another UAG member, Jason Ambro from Ambro's Landscaping. He was one of the guys that I actually leaned over to when we were in the conference room and asked him what his thoughts were on the ECHO 2420. He said it's a great buy, it's a great item, you're going to fall in love with it. So you know what, I went from the HC 152, which was the one I was going to pick out, to the ECHO HC 2420. Now guys, I've done a lot more lawn care and lawn maintenance than I've ever done with landscaping. However, since last fall, I've done a lot of cleanups. Obviously, with this spring already being under our belt, we did a lot more cleanups, hedge trimming, pruning, and everything in between. Honestly guys, this is probably one of my favorite products, no promotion. I was thinking about getting into more landscaping work, more pruning, just to keep the extra income coming in, and there's so much more money in landscaping. So that's one of the reasons I was in the market for a new hedge trimmer. I haven't had any experience with anything from Steel or anything from Redmax, although I know a lot of guys swear by those products. So this one isn't going to be a comparison of any kind. I'm just going to be talking about the HC 2420, okay? Now for all my stat people, you got a 21.2cc engine, you got a 24-inch blade, they're double cut, double reciprocating, so you got laser cut blades on both sides, which is fantastic. The price point on this guy is about 500 bucks, but I'll tell you guys like a friend, don't let that scare you. If you're doing a lot of pruning work and hedge trimming work, I can absolutely see you making that back in only 2 or 3 hedge trimming jobs, okay? If you're doing a fall cleanup or a spring cleanup and it's $250 to $400 if there's a large bed and a lot of maintenance to be done, spring or fall, you're gonna make your money back with this thing, no problem. Now, one of the reasons I was looking at the HC 152 versus the 2420 was because it was a little smaller to use, maybe a little bit easier. Honestly, I'm really glad I went with the 2420 with the 24-inch blade versus the 20-inch blade I think the 152 came with. When you're doing boxwood and just some of the larger plants, that extra reach is really going to help you out, and you're not leaning over as much, which is really going to make it a lot easier on your back and not as taxing, especially when you're doing that for a couple of hours. Now I will tell you guys like a friend, the gas tank seemed more than adequate. We were doing cleanups all day last spring and we never really ran out of gas. It's a really easy gas tank to manage and see where it's at. Me personally, the reason I didn't want to go with a higher end Steel or a higher end Redmax is because this one still has the guards maybe about 18 inches out, which I really like. That way if you happen to come down on a pass and God forbid it does hit your thigh, you're not going to get sliced up. I'm telling you guys like a friend, be extremely careful with these things. They are really dangerous machines if not used correctly. I don't want to have anybody out there have any accidents with them. So if you're brand new, take your time, be educated with them, respect the machine, and that way you're never going to have any accidents, okay? Outside of that, another cool feature that this one does have is the 5-position rotating handle. For me personally, when I was hedge trimming and pruning, it never really made any sense for me to change that position on the handle. I also wasn't comfortable with doing that just yet, but nonetheless, it also didn't really feel like it was any more ergonomic by switching that handle out. I know some guys really like that option and that feature. I'm glad that it comes with this one, but nonetheless, I didn't really take advantage of it too much just yet. One thing I did come to learn and appreciate when I was over in Lake Zurich, Illinois, a part of the UAG trip, was that the ECHO product line did take a patent from Shindawa when they picked them up, and that was the front-facing exhaust. Again, I don't have a huge background in hedge trimming and pruning yet, but what I have learned from some of the other guys is that other hedge trimmers that have the exhaust pointing down. And if you're doing boxwood or some of the other plants and shrubs out there that you're pruning, apparently that exhaust can burn those plants. Something that was new to me. I didn't really know that, obviously, with my skill set and where I'm at learning things. This one right here has the exhaust that faces forward, so that way you're never having that exhaust burn any of those plants when you're trying to get that crisp, clean line. One other part that I wanted to highlight was that underneath, the whole hedge trimmer sits on little anti-vibration springs, and that way there's not a lot of jostling with the hedge trimmer back and forth. Honestly, from my experience, this is the only one I've ever used, and it's probably the Cadillac of hedge trimmers. But nonetheless, I really have come to appreciate that feature. When we were hedge trimming, there wasn't any kickback of any type, and it seemed like a very controllable piece of equipment. Other than that, guys, the hedge trimmer is not very heavy. It seems very nimble, very maneuverable. We were doing all kinds of different plants. Like I said, we were on ladders, doing everything in between, and I felt really comfortable having it in my hands. It never really got away from me. I didn't feel a lot of kickback. Other than that, guys, this thing, it definitely has my blessing. I was in the market to pick one of these bad boys up either which way, just because we did so much fall cleanups and now spring cleanups, and I'm realizing all the profit to be made in landscaping. So if you guys are in the market for one, check it out. I think you'll be really happy. Definitely check out your local ECHO dealer, and I'm sure they can get you hooked up with one. Again, the price point is about $500, but I think it's absolutely worth it because there's a lot of money to be made in hedge trimming and pruning. All right, guys, if you have any questions specifically about the 2420, definitely leave me a comment down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching another quick review and overview from Brian and Brian's Lawn Maintenance. If you guys enjoyed the video, shoot it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.